Hey everyone, welcome back to the Pocket Moggers. Today we're going to be talking about the Caterpie line. Love them or hate them, Caterpie has definitely made an impact on the Pokemon series, its evolutions as well, Butterfree of course in particular. But we'll talk about that a little more. Like I said down here, this is an adorable little loser. It really never measures up to anything in particular, but it's just so cute and it has such a great design. And Butterfree has moves that might surprise you. This thing is so cute, despite being based on a caterpillar. I love the adorable, almost inquisitiveness in Caterpie, despite its kind of vacant look. It's a great little design to try to make bugs cute for kids who may not necessarily like bugs. Entomology is fascinating to me personally. I think they're awesome, but that's just an aside here. Caterpie is not taking any trophies home. It's really, 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 really bad. Its stats are nothing to really write home about. We're not even going to bother bringing them up. Like I said, we only do the final evolutions stats here just for the sake of ease. Um, and its move pool is even worse than its stats. If you don't like tackle and string shot, especially in the first three generations, well, you are SOL, friends. Um, it would start to finally gain same type attack bonus moves in Generation 4, which is 2006. So if you were a Pokemon fan from 1996 to 2006, Caterpie was doing nothing for you. But hey, at least it beat Jesse and James in the show and kind of etched its way into my heart with that. So back in the recesses of time, before the Earth was with form and dinosaurs roamed the land, Metapod using Harden was I, I don't want to say funny, but it certainly was a prevalent, pervasive, if you will, meme about juvenile stuff. But hey, I mean, Metapod's got that niche. We all, Pokemon fans, hear the word Harden. I think Metapod is the Pokemon that comes into our minds. It was pretty much the introduction to bad evolutions. Oh, my Pokemon evolved. Hooray, it's better. Is it? I mean, technically, sure, but it's not going to learn any moves while it's a Metapod, and it's not so much better that Caterpie feels like what's the word I'm looking for? Caterpie feels like it's been completely usurped. You know what I mean? Metapod is nothing special. But hey, it's got that game in Pokemon Stadium 2. Or I'm sorry, it was the first Pokemon Stadium where it and Kakuna have to use Harden on the rocks. I do remember that. I think it was like a rhythm game where you press the A button when they're about to land. It was pretty fun. Um, and I mean, Ash did have one in the show for like half an episode before it evolved. Yeah, so that's something. Okay, so if I lived in the real world, like with Pokemon, Butterfree would be one of the Pokemon that I had. Okay, it's cute, it's sweet, it's not like a real butterfly, which is basically a parasite with wings. It's helpful, it's just a great Pokemon to have around. Um, but you're not winning any World Series with this guy. Okay, you're not taking home any trophies of any kind, be they digital or physical, using Butterfree. Certainly not in competitive Pokemon battles. Uh, it's it's rock types and fire types and electric types and ice types and flying types and poison types, and I mean there's just so many types of Pokemon that just don't care about Butterfree's type combination at all. Rocks in particular, just boom. So they're 4 times super effective. For those who are uninitiated, that means that both Butterfree's bug type and its flying type are weak to rock type, and so it gets a 4 times damage boost when rock moves are used against it. All right, so Butterfree kind of disappears. There's a little irony in that you kind of get rid of Butterfree uh, midway through the game, I'd say, because Caterpie, Metapod, and Butterfree evolve very early, and Butterfree learns the Psychic type move Confusion, which is a great move to use against Brock's Pokemon if you're having a hard time with his rock types. So it's funny that Butterfree is useful against the one gym leader whose type makes Butterfree kind of not worth using at all. Oh yeah, and as I mentioned down here, I loved Ash's Butterfree in the anime. It made me so sad when he left. Like I said, I cried the rest of the day, but I was also 6 years old. I mean, yeah, that I just wasn't ready for that. So once again, if you're an anime stan, you're gonna love Butterfree because it's one of those Pokemon that keeps getting brought up. Ash's connection to Butterfree is referenced throughout the show many times, and many people, like myself, got a nice tone smack in the face, if you will, when Butterfree left compared to the rest of the show. Early Pokemon in particular was very comedic, I think in part because they just didn't really know where this was going or how this was going to play out. So when serious things did happen, when you were a smooth-brained little child like me, it made you very sad. You just weren't ready for it. Um, Caterpie definitely was one of the first Pokemon to introduce us to the concept of evolution, since it does it so early. Your starter wouldn't evolve for another 10 levels after Caterpie does, or around there around. So it was probably the first Pokemon you had that evolved. And in the anime, it did the same thing, where it taught people what evolution was and how it worked. As I've mentioned before, Metapod and Harden are memes, so that they have longevity from that. Yellow from Pokemon Adventures uses a Butterfree as her transport. She is a very small, very, very small little girl, so it makes sense-ish in that universe for that reason. It's not like it is with Ucene and Jumpluff, where I just don't understand how that works at all. But putting all of these things together, seeing merchandise and memes and the anime impacts and some other things that we're going to talk about in just a minute here, I would give Butterfree a 9 out of 10 on impact. It's just kind of one of those Pokemon that a lot of people know. And like I said, cancel me for it, whatever. I don't care, but I think it's pretty well known. It's pretty ubiquitous in the community. Well, it sure ain't all sunshine and rainbows for Butterfree, unfortunately. Butterfree here is getting mogged by the mean because Butterfree stats just don't measure up in general. There are a couple that are better. That 90 in special attack in Gen 1, that's not the worst thing in the world, but it's certainly not anything to write home about in any way. That 80 special defense, and even that 70 speed has a zero point 0.9 of a percent advantage over the mean, but otherwise it's just not doing anything. And to make matters worse, again, this is the mean of every Pokemon, not the mean of just the evolved Pokemon, of every Pokemon. If we were to do fully evolved Gen 1 Pokemon, Butterfree wouldn't even be in the, really wouldn't even be mentioned. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's nothing special. But because it got mocked by the mean, it's not allowed to get anything above a 5 out of 10 in its stats. However, its move pool can turn things around. Its move pool is fantastic. Butterfree gets moves like Quiver Dance, which boosts your speed, special attack, and special defense by one stage and all in one turn. Fantastic move. Bug Buzz is a great special bug type move. Hurricane is an excellent flying type move, especially in the rain. Psychic, Giga Drain, great attacks. Sleep Powder, one of the best status moves in the game, just lets you put something to sleep. Sleep is the kiss of death for a lot of Pokemon, so it's great to be able to put them to sleep and just kind of get them out of the picture. And its utility. Excuse me, sorry guys, had a little bit of a something stuck in my throat there. Its utility isn't bad either. It's got two great abilities in Compound Eyes, which passively boosts its accuracy. Great move, or great ability, excuse me. And Tinted Lens, which powers up not very effective moves. So when a Pokemon resists an attack, for those of you who are unaware, that attack is not very effective, and that means that its damage is reduced by half, by 50%. But with Tinted Lens, you boost that 50% decrease by 25%. So your not very effective attacks do 25% less damage than they would instead of 50. It's pretty amazing. It makes all the difference sometimes, even against Pokemon that, need like that you don't have a super effective move against. Sorry, I zoned out there for a second. But man, those stats, they're just nothing to write home about. Still, great move pool. I can't ignore that. So I'm going to give it a 6. So Caterpie and Metapod are found in some pretty early parts of the game in the Kanto region. There are a couple of surprising places in remakes and later editions of the game that Butterfree or its lower forms can be found in. For example, Butterfree can be found in Viridian Forest in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and Caterpie and Metapod can be found out in the Pattern Brush on Six Island in Fire Red and Leaf Green, which is a post-game area for all of you who want a Butterfree after you've already beaten the league. There it is, just waiting for you. And the ease of access is great. It's great that these Pokemon are right there for you to be able to use, but they just don't cut it for most of the game at all. So there's really no reason to use them after the second badge. Honestly, I mean Butterfree's ability, especially in the Let's Go games, to learn bug type moves will help you against Misty Starmie since it's a psychic type. But I just don't. I can't imagine it. Maybe Erica's team. They're grass type. Butterfree's bug and flying type are weak against grass type Pokemon, but in general, Butterfree's stats are just going to be holding it back, and there's just really no reason to use it at all. But again, the point behind this line is to introduce you to these concepts, so that just kind of goes without saying. We will see a lot of butterfly Pokemon throughout the generations who will have a similar thing going on. Um, Moths, on the other hand, have a champion waiting in the wings. Okay, so if we add all of the different judgments together for Butterfree here, 9 plus 6 equals 15 out of 20. That's pretty surprising. Butterfree, like I say on here, it's absolutely abysmal. It's just not really that great. So it's surprising to see that it got so high on the list, but I mean, like I said, it's a pretty famous Pokemon. It's got a lot going for it in that regard, and that helps. Some of you may have noticed that we didn't mention a certain form of Butterfree here, and we won't be talking about those forms quite yet. Alternate forms for Pokemon, I am going to mog in a different series, much, 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 much later down the road, when we are done with all of the original forms of the Pokemon. I don't think it's fair if I did let's sit here and mog Pichu, Pikachu, Raichu, and all of their forms. The slide would be like 2.5 hours long. So I'm just going to do the forms on their own video where we talk about different things going on with those different forms. But let's just say that Butterfree has a pretty good chance of making an impact in those later on. Okay, and there we go. We are done with the Caterpie line. One of my favorite for bug types, just because it's such a simple concept to understand, and it helps people get into the science of entomology and learning about the natural world, while also helping the player understand Pokemon mechanics better and how those things work. It's that kind of parity between the real world and fiction that helps a series really become something beyond, just a piece of fiction. When you can connect things at that level, it helps people get really involved in your world. I should explain quickly, I have an education in writing and literature and things along those lines. So I'm not talking out of my butt about it. It's what my degree is. Anyway, thanks so much for your time. Have a wonderful day. Let your family know that you love them. Stay safe out there in this crazy, wacky world we all are forced to live in right now. Um, and let me know if you have any questions, comments. Leave a like and subscribe if you would. It would help immensely. Let's try to make a community of Pokemon fans that are respectful and civil and kind to each other, please. We have to deal with enough adversity in the world as it is nowadays. Thanks so much for your time. Have a great one.